I wanted to upskill myself. And at the same time, I used to see leaders on LinkedIn or at other places, at conferences. And certainly when you start in cybersecurity, you directly don't become a CISO. It takes time. So what comes in between was my question.
What got you interested in really starting your own organization for BBWIC?
Yeah. So the idea came from the fact that I have been part of several communities in the last 6, 7 years. So I started my cyber journey around in 2015. And at that point, I used to be a student. I was pursuing my master's degree in information security management.
Mm.
And during that time, I got to know about OWASP, and I was in New Delhi, India at that point. And there used to be some monthly meetups, and I got intrigued. I was like, okay, what is this? And what are these monthly meetups? So I started attending them, and I started becoming part of communities, and eventually I became part of many women-led communities as well on the run. But as I moved forward in my cybersecurity journey, one of the things which I found myself lost was, what am I like, if I'm part of a community, how I can contribute, and at the same time how I can benefit by being already a woman in cybersecurity. So I used to see a lot of opportunities around getting women in cybersecurity. What are some intro lessons? What are some intro lessons around different domains, different areas? But for me, I had already learned that. I wanted to proceed further. I wanted to know, for example, if I'm more passionate about a particular area, I wanted to upskill myself. And at the same time, I used to see leaders on LinkedIn or at other places, at conferences. And certainly when you start in cybersecurity, you directly don't become a CISO. It takes time. So what comes in between was my question. I used to actually attend two extreme kind of sessions. One was like how to get into cyber, and the other was like how to become that CISO. And I was like, what's in between? How to move up in the ladder, and how to learn new things. So eventually, when I started exploring what am I missing being part of a community person and how I can add it to the existing cyber communities, I had more fellow colleagues and friends in the industry. And I also get to know from them, they were in the same boat. So when I started sharing my concerns, I got to hear back from them the same concerns. And I was like, I need to do something about it. I need to start a small group, maybe, where we can start talking about what are you doing being part of the industry already? How are you planning to proceed? Because cybersecurity and IT in itself is very broad. It's not very narrow. So, for example, if somebody starts in AppSec, they're not restricted to AppSec. I might want to move to cloud. I might want to move to identity and access management. So the roads and paths are very diverse. But how to move in that direction, how to become successful. So suddenly one day, if I want to move from one part of my job to another, how can I do that? Because I didn't know. For example, if you apply for jobs, you might not get shortlisted because your experience is in different area. So I started discussing these things. I started discussing leadership stuff, like how to at least move from an entry level position to a senior level position and take your first lead position, because these are the ladders which you take. So when all of these questions cropped up, I started a lean in circle, which is breaking barriers women in cybersecurity. And eventually in 6, 7, 8 months, it became huge. I never expected more women to join me, but they did. And it was surprise because, to be honest, in the beginning, I was like, okay, let's be 20 of us. Even if 20 people join me, great, we'll make a good circle. But it eventually ended up more than 200, and then the numbers are still increasing. So I ended up registering it as a nonprofit, and I started finding struggles around women, like being a woman in states, being a woman coming from a different country. Like I'm coming from India. I've spent half of my life, like literally most of my 20s in India, and then I came here. So during that time, what were the struggles? And I understand the struggles when you're coming from a developing country, how to pursue a career in a developed country, and then what are the struggles here. So to be honest, I was like, okay, I have my struggles, but I got to know struggles are here as well. So I started bringing them together, and then created this foundation.